Now, I understand it's low-hanging fruit to pick on, well, in this case, low-hanging fruits, but TDS-afflicted celebrities, pseudo-celebrities, creatives, if you will, because honestly, Mark Ruffalo and Mark Waid aren't exactly on anybody's A-list except for people that should be deported from the country. But while I normally don't like to stop and gawk at a car wreck, every once in a while, though, you see a couple of explosions and a big pillow or billow of smoke, and it's like, one glance couldn't hurt, right? Right? And so, at least we can double up this time around, right? Like, we can kill two idiots with one stone, or at least verbally so, in Minecraft, right? Disney Marvel actor. That's a funny way to categorize him, because this is the same guy who thought that, acting in a Marvel movie. I'm so glad to be beyond that, because now I can flex my range. Somebody who's very denigrative towards the medium. That is until a fat check rolls along his desk. Mark Ruffalo says he's feeling fear after Trump's election win in a speech at the ACLU. Hilarious, one of the biggest perpetrators of misinformation, lies, and deception. You're out there telling the world how scared you are from inside of your gilded mansion. How terrified you are of a guy that you said that if he was to win an election, you would leave the country. Yeah, sure thing, pal. Longtime Avenger, yes. Gave a speech in front of the ACLU where he expressed fear following President-elect Donald Trump's landslide victory, yes, over Kamala Harris. Ruffalo spoke to the ACLU's SoCal Bill of Rights Awards and took a notably somber tone as he approached the podium. We got our asses kicked, Ruffalo said, referencing Trump's victory from earlier in the week. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger and makes me tweet so much faster and vociferously that we cannot lose next time if we just double down harder, right, guys? Anyways, but sometimes you have to spend a little more time in bed before it happens. What a bitch. Ruffalo was a very outspoken Trump, yes, detractor and supporter of President Harris's campaign. I wonder how much he got paid. We know Oprah got $1 million and Megan Thee Stallion got 5 fat stacks to bring a bunch of whores up on stage and twerk in one of the most off-putting displays on a presidential campaign trail that you are likely to ever see. I mean, the next time that we do this 4 years down the line, you're still likely to see prostitutes up on stage, but maybe they'll be a little bit more political next time around and then do all of their prostrating perhaps a little bit more metaphorically. He went on to talk about, yes, back to Ruffalo here, the very sane and level-headed individual, talk about the incoming Trump administration as though it were some kind of horrifying monster, natural disaster making its way towards the United States, and expressed fear over what was coming. Oh my God, he's gonna improve the quality of life for millions of people, and he's generally gonna handle international affairs that don't really affect your day-to-day business. Yeah, for as much as I'm a big Trump guy, day-to-day lives aren't really going to change all that much, and so much they do, yeah, they're mostly just going to cost less for average people. I think that's a win, right? Now, the fact that we're here says a great deal about what we all care about in life. Yes, playing Keeping Up with the Joneses in a very high-priced room, I understand. And I want to appreciate you all for your values and the grief and the fear that most accurately may be feeling as well, because I know I am. We suffered a great loss. It's a loss that touches deeply on so much of what we've worked for and we've hoped for and dreamed for such a long time now. Ruffalo then asked everyone in the room to stand up, turn to the person next to them, and give them a hug. Oh my God. It really is, okay? Hating Trump is a religion for these freaks, okay? That's stuff that you do at church, okay? Like, I'm never going to be making claims that I'm a man of the cloth or I can recite you my favorite verse out of the Bible, but every once in a while, like, I might check in on Easter and then especially on Christmas Eve, and that's the only time that you see stuff like this. Oh yeah, either that or when you're covering devotees of the woke mind virus who denigrate the religious right, but then also adhere to all of the principles that make them so metaphysically insufferable. Like, what are you doing here, dude? You're so out of touch, and that's why your party lost this time around, and if they don't do any earnest self-reflection, we'll continue to lose a lot into the future. But he's not the only Mark that has a level 4 TDS. We got Mark Waid, somebody who's actually contributed something to his medium at one point in time. Like, I mean, he was the co-author for Kingdom Come, so at least he has that on his resume, but Mark Waid hasn't been on his game in a very long time, so for his reaction to Trump's second, some people say third, victory, being as unhinged as this. Okay, Action Comics writer Mark Waid considers retirement due to re-election of Donald Trump. I don't believe in the basic goodness of my fellow Americans anymore, and without this, I cannot write superheroes. Like, bro, you haven't written superheroes in nigh on 30 years, so why would you begin to anyways? And here you are, gauging the goodness of the whole based on the selection of the half. I couldn't imagine that my moral compass is contingent on how somebody would check a box on a piece of paper or press a button on a ballot counting machine that may or may not be accurate to your desired choice. But I guess I'm not one of these liberal elitists out there. Well, let's see how they think. As every American presidential race in the aftermath of the recent 2024 election, voters ranging from average citizens to celebrities to other world leaders have rushed to social media to share their opinions regarding Donald Trump's re-election to the Oval Office. Among those who have taken a publicly expressing their feelings towards the outcome is, unsurprisingly, none other than veteran comic book scribe Mark Waid, who has apparently found himself creatively and spiritually broken by Trump's electoral victory. And while, yeah, nobody's surprised by this move, this is also the same dork who accused a black guy on the internet, okay? That just some guy accused him of being a white supremacist. He lives in the south side of Chicago, by the way. Like, you can't get more hood than him, even though, politically speaking, they probably have quite a bit in common. No, Mark Waid has been as unhinged as he has been bereft of talent for quite some time. Like, he did that dismal Daredevil run that effectively killed the character stone dead in the late 2000s, early 2010s before he got chased out of Marvel. Like, yeah, you got to give him his flowers for writing Kingdom Come, but it was a long time ago, bro. As readers are surely already know by now, most of the country's electors have already been submitted. Yeah, this article was written a little while back, and obviously 312 for Trump and, I don't know, blowjob and a ham sandwich for Kamala Harris at the end of the day. You lost, bitch. You lost by a lot. What happened to those 10 million votes, by the way? Anyways, rather than a close race, which many Harris voters had coped and gaslit themselves into believing the worst case scenario, Trump instead won by a wide margin, a huge margin, if you will, by roughly 5 million ballots, exactly where he managed to maintain the victory, or I guess the vote total that he got in 2020. Meanwhile, the Democrats, they didn't quite match up to the overwhelming popularity of Joe Biden's 81 million votes. Strange how that works. On November 5th, as the election results began to show that Trump was taking a significant lead over Harris, a writer for DC's Action Comics and Batman Superman World's Finest series, as well as their recent Absolute Power crossover, took to his personal Blue Sky account, where all of the best ideas are shared, to share his despair regarding the prospect of a GOP victory. Even if by some miracle this turns around, I don't believe in the basic goodness of my fellow Americans anymore. And without this, I cannot write superheroes. And everybody was like, we know. Oh, but you want to make it official now. There's no point. When you see the decline in quality of my work soon, you'll be able to trace it back to this night. Wow. Okay, so you're not saying that you're quitting. You're just laying the seeds for terrible stories that you have in the can. Weird take there, bro, but all right. Further expounding on his thoughts to reply to the former Action Comics Volume 1 and Justice League Volume 3 penciler Pete Woods, who questioned, how is this happening? The noted comic book creator likewise asserted, I genuinely don't know how to go on. Oh my god, just buy some rope and a stool with a creaky leg, for Christ's sakes. You're making a spectacle out of yourself. I don't believe in anything I write anymore, and I probably never will. Bro, like, I was fairly upset, especially when that final Supreme Court case got tossed with absolutely no further elaboration, but that just lasted an evening, and I didn't spurg out all over social media back in 2020. But these are grown-ass men with, like, legacies in the comic book industry, just acting like high school girls. Like, what are we doing here? No wonder your industry is in the shape that it's in. Rather unsurprising sentiment for the same individuals who previously found himself disappointed that Trump's would-be assassin at the Butler Farm showgrounds, had missed his shot. Ultimately, whether or not Waid actually bows out of the comic book scene probably won't be perceived by the masses, because nobody's reading DC Comics anymore, bro. And it's assholes like this, and it's avatars for the industry like Mark Ruffalo that are leading people in droves away from comics, leading them away from superhero stories, not because there isn't fertile ground to have logical and compelling stories. It's just the people that are writing them are absolutely mentally deranged. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone, and Trump 2024, and for all time, baby, let's go!